So you saw me use the little rubber trick and adjust and mess around with the door. So I got them the best I can get them as far as it's lined up here. The gaps are not good anywhere. I mean, it's super tight there. It's not bad along the bottom, gets a little fat. Both doors do this thing here where it's tight down here and gets wider up here. This one's pretty tight here, decent there. And then this one, again, is more of the same. Pretty good here, decent here, drops a little bit. And then we got this V thing going on and super tight down along the bottom. But as far as adjusting the hinges, that's the best position I can find for them. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but it's what I'm gonna go with. I'm going to go with the old slicing and dicing and trying to make these gaps a little bit better. I've said it 500 times, I'll say it again, this isn't meant to be a show car. I'm gonna drive it and use it and whatever, but that doesn't mean obviously I'm still taking care and trying to make things as nice as I can. I gotta have, you know, better door gaps than this. I don't even know if I'm ever gonna paint this thing or if it's gonna live in primer or whatever, but you know, we got to have some sort of door gap here. Do I know how to do this? No. Have I watched YouTube videos that show me, give me an idea? Yeah. Do I have a welder and a grinder? Yeah. So we're gonna give it a try. This isn't a how to fix your door gaps because I'm not making it up as I go because I kind of have the basic principle in my head, but I've never done it before and I'm not great with the welder, but we're gonna give it a try because that's what we do here in Montana Garage. We figure out how to do it and we try to save, or not really worried about saving money, but I'm trying to build this car myself. There's nothing wrong with people that just go buy a car. I just want to build my own car. So I'm trying to do as much of this stuff as I can myself, which means some of it will not be as good as if a professional did it, but at least I'll know I tried. And yeah, that's where I stand on that. So here we go. The other thing that has kind of held me up is I've been hemming and hawing and trying to decide where should I start? How should I mean, do I change the size of the door? Do I change the size of the opening? I did use some shims. You know, I replaced body mounts. I put shims here, took shims away, added shims there. Supposedly that, if you put some shims in here, from what I read, it's supposed to like kind of move the firewall, you know, in. And that closes this gap up. And if you put them over here, it's supposed to open it up. The gap is obviously already as tight as I want it because I'm tight here and I'm tight here. So I tried putting some shims here and here maybe. I can't remember what I did. It was kind of a pain in the butt, you know, jack the car up. You got to get enough. You got to loosen all the body mounts on the sides so it'll go up enough to get the shims in there. I didn't see any, you know, negligible change, or it didn't seem like it made any difference to me. I got all the poly body mounts in there, but I don't have any shims. So I'm just going with that. Right or wrong, whatever. We're back to, this is where the gap is going to be. This is the size of the door. This is the size of the opening, and I have to make it better. Should I mess with the door? Should I mess with the opening? A lot of times I watch the videos and they're grinding down the edge of the door here. You know, we're tight, so they'll grind down the edge of the door. And then you got to re-weld it because you grind through this little fold over, and it all comes apart, and you got to re-weld it and then re-grind it. And I'm fine with that. I mean, that's an option or a way to do it. I've tried to research this and watch a few videos, but I haven't found a ton of them. I've seen where it's wide. Like if this was wide, they put a slice here and move it over, you know, to where you want it, and then you weld it back up. I don't think I've seen where it's narrow like this. Whenever I've seen it narrow, they always shave the door, at least the videos I've seen. But I think, in my case, the door is pretty good. It's got a nice straight edge on it. This quarter panel, however, is all jacked up here. The whole car is creased on this quarter panel and it's been messed up right here. There's a little spot right here. So this door jamb is not perfect. So even if I was gonna shave the door, I would wanna start by making this quarter panel here, the edge of the door. That's where I wanna start making that perfect. So I think I'm gonna try to leave the door how it is and then put a slice in here and then use that to create my gap. That might be totally wrong, and some of you guys are out there yelling at your TV screen or your phone or your computer screen right now saying, no, don't do that. But I don't know, that's just, I've hemmed and hawed about it, and it ain't gonna get done if I don't get the grinder out and just start doing surgery. It's metal, it can be fixed one way or another, right? So right or wrong, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Now, before I do that, the first thing I'm gonna do, if we take a look back over here, I don't have very good lighting. Let's go back to the other side. I'm gonna start with that side because that's the quarter panel that's all screwed up. Actually, this one's screwed up too, but that one's worse. So if I screw it up, I don't feel super bad about it. We got better lighting over here, but I'm gonna start on the other side. But first thing I'm gonna do is, it's a little deceiving because there's primer in here in spots. And so the gap just looks a little different because we got dark primer and then it's bare metal. So first thing I'm gonna do is probably just by hand, or maybe I'll use the little sander. I'm just gonna clean this up so I can get it all to bare metal, so that it's a little more consistent just in looking. And then I actually made a gap tool whoa, chair took off on me. Hello. I made a little gap tool out of just some random stuff I found in my grandfather's toolbox. This was like some sort of little blade for something, I think, but it's squared off or whatnot. It's exactly 3/16. I'm showing you over here. You can't even see it. Nice work. And then I just welded this little handle on it. So I got that bad boy, you know, to kind of use as a reference. And then I was watching videos on how to do this and whatnot, and I came across the, where did I just put it? Thought I just lost it. That would have been no good at all. Came across this Big Kid Blocks gap tool, and like I said, I just made one and I already had it, but this one has a couple cool features to it, and I figured I need all the help I can get. It wasn't that expensive, so we'll show you how you're supposed to use that along the way here. So let me get some sandpaper, we'll get these door edges cleaned off, and eventually we'll start making sparks and stop talking about it. All right, so a couple minutes with the little hand sandy sand, and let's take a quick peek. I'm not real concerned with getting all this paint off of here right now. I just wanted to make sure the edge is clean, just so I can see more consistently what I'm looking at. So I don't know if that matters or if it shows up on camera, but it definitely is helping me, you know, see it a little better. So I'll break out the gap tool. Well, first let's just take a look where we're at here before we get started. So we got a before and after reference, and also I'm using my handy dandy light. I'll take this moment to say thank you. Some of you folks have been using the links I put in the video description to go to Amazon and buy the stuff that I either link, or even you're buying other random things. And whenever you do that, I get a little commission. I know if you guys all know Jeff Bezos is the Amazon guy, and he's like one of the richest guys in the world, and he actually has enough money to go to space. So whenever you go to Amazon and buy something, if you go through my link and buy it, then instead of Jeff Bezos getting all that money, I get a little bit of it. And you know, hey, I want to go to space someday too, so help a guy out, would you? So just a quick look at where we're at before we start. Super tight, super tight, super tight. Got a little warble in it right there. Super tight. And then 3/16. What would I do with my little tool here? I guess to me, 3/16 seems a little wide, but that's what everybody says. Of course, then you're gonna put paint, you know, primer and paint and everything, and that's gonna close up a little bit. But this actually is saying it's actually a hair tight up here, everywhere it's wide. We're pretty good up here, gets a little tight over here, way too tight right here. Pretty tight right here. I'm not gonna mess with this gap until I have the fenders on. I probably shouldn't be messing with any of this until I have the fenders on, but based on how tight we are here and how tight we are here, I don't think the door can really go forward or back anywhere other than I have it. So we're gonna hope that the fender gap is gonna be fine, and if it's not, I guess we'll fix it somehow too. To me, looking at it, that seems too wide right there, but it's not. It's actually a little narrow, and it gets obviously narrower, and then there's no chance of this fitting in anywhere along here. It's like super duper tight. And if we get down here on the bottom, it's actually not too bad on the bottom. So we're in actually a little wide, and then it gets tight here at the corner. So we're gonna narrow that up just a hair, widen this whole thing up, and while we're doing that, hopefully try to massage this metal a little bit. And then again here, I don't know if we'll mess with that. And then the front gaps, like I said, we'll probably leave those until, well, we'll leave this one until the fender's on. This one I guess I can do. This is gonna have to be grinding the door back, you know, if we decide to widen this gap to where it's supposed to be, which I guess is what we should do. So anyways, that's our starting point. There's my welder. I got a grinder over there somewhere, and I don't know. I'm gonna go find some tools and start making some sparks. Do you like 55 Chevys? Do you like YouTube shows about building cars? Then hit the little button, right? It's free, doesn't cost you nothing. Helps us out here at the Montana Garage, and yeah, do it. Did I mention I'm a little nervous about slicing and dicing? Because I'm probably gonna screw it up, but it's not gonna get done if I don't do it, I guess, right? So we made a decision, we're gonna stick with it, and we're gonna hope for the best. As I mentioned before, this is all kind of jacked up right here. There was actually like a little crack, a little split in the metal. I don't know, here, or both probably, that I welded up at some point a while ago. And now that I take this off, I guess if nothing else, I can see in there that my weld was definitely getting good penetration, so I can see the backside of the weld there. That's cool. Looks like I have a little bit of room to get my arm in here with the dolly if I need to try to, you know, hammer and dolly on that door edge there to make it a little straighter once we get to welding and grinding away and whatnot. So that's good. I guess I just thought of another thing I did in my little absence from YouTube here is found these pieces laying in the bottom of the driver's floor here. This hinge, 2 of these bolts were mangled. When I started adjusting the door, they were tight, but then once I loosened them, I think they came loose, but they wouldn't come out. So one of them, I think this inside one, this is what's left of that. I started with an easy out, and then I just was drilling and grinding, and I kind of really mangled it, but eventually I got it to come out of there. And somehow I even didn't screw up the little threads on the little nut that's in the back there. So all I had to do is put some new bolts in there. Those aren't, I don't know if you can even see them, those aren't like the factory style bolts, but they work and they're all tight and no more mangled bolts. So see, I've been busy. No, I haven't really been that busy, not out here, but I did some stuff. I was just thinking before I start grinding, I should do something about the sparks, and I'm probably gonna get new windows as soon as I can. These things, I wasn't super good. They got some welding. Sparks have been hitting them, but I'm gonna cover this up a little better so we can at least, you know, make it look like we care. And like I said, I wanna get new windows. It may not be right away. So let's try to cover them up a little bit, and then we'll start making sparks. All right, I'm back. I got the windows somewhat covered up, and I put this tape line on here just for reference. It doesn't really matter, you know, I'm just gonna cut a line and weld it, but I threw some tape on here. I think I've changed my mind in that I'm gonna cut all this, but this up here I think I'm gonna leave, and then on this part I'm gonna shave the door down, I think. I'm not really sure, but I'm not gonna cut up there. I'm gonna cut up to that. For some reason, I'm having a hard time committing to this. One of the things I don't like, and I'm sure this is just how you gotta do it, I don't know, but so I'm gonna cut this and then try to pound it over, but I gotta get almost, I mean, not quite 3/6, probably at least an 1/8. So it's not like I'm gonna be able to just move this face over. It's just gonna, you know, it's just gonna lean over. I guess that's fine. I don't know. But I'm just not real sure about what I'm doing here. I haven't seen any videos of anybody doing it this way. I'm not sure if I should just be, I mean, I don't wanna just do the door because this line is all screwed up anyway, so I just don't want to match the door to that screwed up line. I think I'm doing the right thing, but it's almost midnight. I'm having a hard time kind of like wrapping my head around it and committing to it, so I'm going to sleep on it. I got maybe not all day, but most of tomorrow to be in the shop. We're going to come back first thing in the morning, and I'm sure I'm not going to change my mind. I'm sure it's just I need to just do it, but I'm going to sleep on it, and then I'm going to come out and just do it in the morning. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, next morning, back out in the Montana garage. I slept on this. I tried to search up a few more videos. I didn't find anything really that helped me out. So I guess we're just gonna go with my instinct and just start hacking away here, and hopefully we're doing it right. The thing I'm struggling with now is I've decided I'm gonna cut the quarter, not the door. I think I changed my plan. I'm gonna stop that about here and then maybe trim the door to match that up there. I think that's gonna be easier to get that shape right if I just grind the door back to there. From down here, we're gonna cut the quarter. In my infinite wisdom, I thought I'm gonna cut it back here on this by the blue tape line. That way I'm not gonna mess up this edge. But the edge is already screwed up, so now I'm struggling. Should I just be cutting it right at the edge, welding it there, and then that's gonna be a better place it's gonna be better for the quarter panel, and then I have some weld to grind. Try to keep that straight. My theory was to cut it away from the edge so that I didn't mess up the edge. And it's good, except for just like here and here. That's the thing I'm second guessing myself on right now, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna cut it at the tape line, try to push it over, tack it back together, and hope I can make that work. All right, well, I guess I ain't gonna get done if I don't get started, so here we go. Dead battery, of course. Done screwed it up now. I got a big old slice at the side of my quarter panel here. Anyways, I guess they say the first cut's the deepest or the hardest or whatever. Anyways, we got that done, so now there's nothing to do but keep going. So I got some hammers and such here. I'm gonna try to just tappy tap. Some places I got to go wider. If I was just going a little tiny bit, I would have used like my little air saw instead of my grinder, but I have to go at least the width of this grinder blade, or probably even more. I'm probably gonna have to take out a little bit more in a few spots to get it to come over far enough. So I'm gonna tappy tap on it here and see if we can even get it to move over to see if this plan was gonna work at all. Oh yeah, she's going over. Gotta get a little more everywhere. Oh, and then of course I gotta try to keep it flush too. Not screw up the shape of it. So we got our slice in there, done a little poundy pound, and you can see we're definitely getting the gap now. See, that looks wide to me, but 3/16 is what everybody says. So that's what that measurement is. So we're pretty good up to here. From here on up, I think I'll trim the door to match this, and I'll trim the door to match this. Now I gotta get the welder out, and I'm just gonna tack. Once I get it good, I'll tack and then move down, grind some more out. We're getting overlap here, so we gotta get more metal out of the way, get this pushed over, and I gotta try to tack it all together and try to keep some sort of shape here. All right, I haven't showed you much yet because I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. But anyways, I sliced it like you saw. I got the gap beat over until about this last spot weld. Well, I guess I just beat it over there. But now we're getting overlappage, so I'm cutting more metal with the little air saw. And then I'm gonna just try to cut this metal out and then move it over and tack it as I go down. It's kind of a struggle to get it built out to the right, you know, shape. One of the things with this little Big Kid Blocks tool is it's got a perfectly flat edge, so you can kind of go like this so you can see how I'm falling in there. But I'm not too bad up here where I've done it. Obviously I got some weld to grind. There's my other weld to the part that I've done so far. Anyways, we're making progress. I think it'll be better than it was, hopefully, when we get done. So I gotta keep cutting, moving over. I do have a little bit of access from inside to try to pry this out, but it's just, you can't really get in there, so it's kind of a bugger. So I'm trying to, I've been getting like a little screwdriver in here to try to pull it out like this, and then just make sure this is staying out. So yeah, we'll keep plugging away. All right, I had to reach in with the welding pliers and kind of bend this lip out. What I didn't think about is when I pushed this over, I knew this was going to get angled, but it also angles, you know, this lip part inward. And so then I got to pull that out, and then I actually end up with a little bit bigger gap than I wanted. But it was big enough to get this guy in here, so I was able to use that to suck it together. We're mostly good up until that point. We'll keep on struggling. All right, I'm back. I took a little break to watch my daughter play soccer. She plays D1 soccer at Long Island University, and they got the victory today, 2-0, so good job, Sharks. Back out in the shop, fighting with this door gap. One thing I've learned is I think on the next side, I might just do the door all together on the next side, but I'm definitely gonna do the, probably should have left this how it was, and then trim the door to fit the arc. You see, I just had to kind of make some pie cuts and stuff, and I think I have the gap now how I want it everywhere. So now it's just a matter of welding it all together and seeing how, you know, bad it's going to be as far as, I mean, I know there was already going to be filler required here just because the, you know, this part of the quarter panel was already screwed up, but I don't know. I'm probably making it worse, but hey, I'll have a door gap now. So we'll keep, like I say, I kind of got everything how I want it. So now it's just a matter of trying to hold these together And I'll do a little bit of pinchy with this guy to try to get them together. Spot weld that all in, and then we'll come back and see how that looks. All right, here we have it all welded up. Fairly consistent gap, like I said up there. I'm going to adjust that on the door, but pretty snug fit all the way down on there. Now I just have to clean up all my ugly welding, do some grinding, and then hopefully it'll be good enough for some filler. This door, kind of need to try to get it to go in a little bit down here. It's good here. It's good here, so I might have to try to kind of bend the bottom of the door, and it's just like from maybe here over that it could go in a little bit, so we'll work on that too. Time for some grinding.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Update time after a little bit of grindy. We got, you know, not a perfect gap, but a decent. It's actually maybe a hair wide in a couple spots, but pretty good all the way down the corner. You know, my weld didn't disappear by any means, but this is already going to need filler, so it's kind of a little cup right there, and this whole thing's a little low. I was going to do something about this. This one's just a hair wide too, but I'm probably just going to leave that one. So we're decent from there and up to there. So now we just got to take care of where it gets tight here, goes up there. Let me show you how this Big Kid Blocks tool works. I've basically been using my other one, but this is the same thing. They're like the exact same measurement. So anyways, this, you know, just like the other thing I have, you can use it for the gap. But then this piece has like these two, a short side and a long side. And so with this, you put the long side against your established edge, and the short side will actually scribe a mark, they say. So here I'm a little tight. And if I run this in here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it actually put a little mark on the metal right there. So now I know that that's how far I have to grind. And I can barely see it all the way up. So now to do this one, I'm going to leave this as it is and grind the door. And then there's a good chance I'm going to grind through this fold over here, and then we'll have to re-weld that and re-grind it, I guess. So I don't know, I've never done this before, but that's what the internet says. So let's give it a try. All right, a little bit of grindy. Now we got a good consistent gap all the way down and around this little bend. But like I said, when you do that, you grind away your little lip here. So now I have to clamp this back together really well, and then burn it in really hot, and then grind it back flat. ish again. So now we'll see how that goes. All right, now we got some ugly-ish welding on this thing. I mean, I don't know if it's any uglier than anybody else's or just slowly welding that edge back in. I haven't closed it yet to see what that's gonna look like. Get a little bit of stuff out of my way. All right, so now in theory, that should all be a hair smaller than the gap we're looking for. I will grind this a little bit smooth just on this outside here, and then I can use that tool to scribe it to the line we want to grind to, and I've grinded that line and should be golden. Should be. Probably won't be, but hopefully it'll be better than it was. All right, we got that weld ground kind of smooth-ish. Now we'll use our handy dandy tool here. Probably gonna have to do a little more welding, I would guess, but maybe we'll get lucky. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but that gave us a line. We're pretty good right there. We might be a hair low. And there's another spot. Pretty wet, right on right there. So we'll try to grind that, and then we may have to do a touch more welding. Let's see. All right, kind of finished with this gap, I guess. Definitely better than it was. It's maybe a touch wide in a couple spots right here, maybe right here. The gap tool just wiggles just a hair in there. That seems like such a wide gap to me, but that's the gap everybody says you're going for, at least where it's right. Somewhere I got my handy tool here. Pretty tight fit. This really wasn't that bad. I was kind of worried about, you know, getting that straight again, but that wasn't too bad. So I might do more of that on the other side and less of fighting with this stuff. Just cut the door down. Pretty good, pretty good. Stay right, maybe in there. It wiggles a little bit. We're good on the bottom. This is good until it gets to about right here. Mark there, so we probably should grind that down just a hair to keep that consistent. And then this one's really tight, so I guess we should do the same thing here. Alright, so that side's all done. I went ahead and did the top here. So I got it gapped. I cut this one, and then you saw me doing some welding. So let's get our block of wood out of the way. Oops, just ruin everything. And now you see this one again was too narrow, so I had to grind it back and now weld that edge together. And I think my weld should be close enough everywhere. So now we will grind that off and see if we can make her look like the rest of it. Making some progress. Oh, well, that's it for today. got that door done. We'll work on this door next. And then the trunk is kind of a disaster as well. We'll get on that. I got a bunch of parts coming tomorrow. Come back next time. I'll show you what all we got. And keep gapping the doors and the trunk. And then I don't know what we're going to do. Start putting some of the parts on. And then, like I said, I want to try to maybe get this in epoxy. So there's lots to do. And I'll try to film it and be a little more consistent. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. And see you on the next one, huh?